Picture this. You're sitting alone in a dark room, staring at a glowing computer screen. The world outside is quiet, but your heart is pounding. Suddenly, a strange message appears. Hello, we are looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find them, we have devised a test. There's a message hidden in this image. Find it, and it will lead you on the road to us. Good luck. It's simple. Black text, white background. A picture of a cicada, an insect known for living underground for years before emerging with a piercing song. At first glance, you think it's nothing. Just another internet prank. But then, something gnaws at the back of your mind. What if this isn't random? What if this is the beginning of something bigger? And so, with one click, you step into a rabbit hole that has consumed the lives of some of the brightest minds in the world. A puzzle so deep, so sprawling, and so terrifying that to this day, no one can say for sure who created it or why. This is not just a story about codes and riddles. It's about obsession, control, and shadows lurking behind the digital curtain. This is Cicada 3301, the ultimate puzzle. Before we descend into the labyrinth, a quick request. If you're drawn to hidden knowledge, to secrets long buried, to the mysteries that most fear to uncover, this channel is your refuge. Subscribe now to The Forbidden Scroll, because what you're about to hear isn't just a story, it's the opening of a door. And once opened, some doors can never be closed. Now, back to the mystery. It all began on January 4th, 2012. The internet, as always, was a chaotic tangle of memes, political rants, and fleeting trends. Yet, buried in the corner of a message board infamous for its anarchic culture, a post appeared unlike anything else. Its title was formal, almost clinical. We are looking for highly intelligent individuals. Attached was an image of a cicada, stark black against a white background. No explanation, no flair, just the insect. Those who initially dismissed it as a prank quickly discovered otherwise. Hidden in the pixels of the image was a message, encoded using steganography, the subtle art of concealing information where it seems invisible. One small discovery led to another. Embedded within the image was a cipher that pointed to a website. On that site, the first layer of the puzzle awaited. Numbers, letters, symbols, and sequences that seemed meaningless at first, but each was a key to the next layer of the labyrinth. The puzzles escalated quickly. A single misstep could erase hours of progress. One image would hide a code in plain sight, but the answer required knowledge of history, mathematics, and literature in equal measure. William Blake's poetry, Agrippa's occult philosophy, obscure references to prime numbers, classical ciphers, and even Japanese haiku all became vital pieces in a sprawling, interconnected puzzle. Nothing could be solved in isolation. It demanded breadth, depth, and persistence. Then came the posters. Overnight, in cities across the globe, Warsaw, Paris, Sydney, Seoul, San Francisco, black and white posters bearing the cicada symbol appeared. At first, local authorities dismissed them as street art, but these were no ordinary posters. They contained QR codes that, when scanned, revealed the next layer of the puzzle. Some were printed with such precision that the codes only worked under specific lighting conditions. Others led solvers to obscure coordinates, phone numbers, or hidden messages buried in public archives. For those chasing the puzzle, the experience was addictive, terrifying, and disorienting. Imagine wandering the streets at night in a foreign city, a single QR code in your hand, searching for a clue that might not exist, all while feeling eyes watching from unseen corners. The scale of the operation was staggering, suggesting not a hobbyist, but a highly organized, almost omnipotent entity orchestrating a global hunt. It wasn't just a test of intelligence. it was a test of will. Those who pursued it were forced into long nights of research, poring over texts, cross-referencing ciphers, tracking coordinates, and questioning every assumption. Small victories brought euphoria. Small mistakes could crush confidence. And always in the back of the mind lurked the chilling awareness. Someone or something was watching. The hunt consumed entire communities. Online forums became war rooms. Reddit threads overflowed with code, speculation, and arguments. Discord and IRC channels ran 24/7, filled with individuals from every continent, working alone or in small teams, dissecting every clue. Some were mathematicians. Others were cryptographers, linguists, or amateur historians. Entire weeks could pass with only small breakthroughs, but the momentum never slowed. For many, obsession turned into something darker. Relationships faltered. Work was neglected. Sleep became a luxury. Stories emerged of solvers sleeping under desks, scribbling cryptic notes in the margins of ancient books, tracking prime numbers in their dreams. Some reported auditory hallucinations, the faint chirping of cicadas in empty rooms, or the sense of unseen figures moving just beyond the edges of vision. Solvers described a world that had narrowed into a single focus, the puzzle. And that focus became all-consuming. The puzzles themselves were a marvel of ingenuity. One challenge required translating a cryptic passage from an obscure Scandinavian text and then cross-referencing it with the Fibonacci sequence to unlock coordinates in a remote location. Another demanded understanding of digital steganography. An image that seemed blank contained a series of encrypted letters only visible through careful manipulation of color channels. Some clues required offline investigation, visiting libraries, museums, or physical coordinates where a book or artifact awaited, containing the next piece. The brilliance of Cicada 3301 was in its reach. It blurred the lines between digital and physical, between reality and paranoia. Solvers became detectives, linguists, mathematicians, explorers, and even something like cult initiates, drawn deeper and deeper into the web. They reported eerie coincidences, receiving emails with innocuous subject lines that contained encrypted directions, discovering posters that seemed to appear just as they were about to give up, finding themselves in places where the puzzle seemed to anticipate their every move. The global nature of the hunt only amplified the obsession. Solvers from different countries would share discoveries, translating obscure texts, testing theories, or piecing together maps of cryptic coordinates. Friendships were formed in fleeting bursts of collaboration, only to vanish when another solver disappeared without a trace. The hunt was communal, yet terrifyingly isolating. As the puzzle progressed, the number of solvers dwindled. Thousands tried, only a few succeeded. Those who reached the final stages were contacted privately. The messages were cryptic and often chilling. Instructions, new challenges, sometimes warnings. Some obeyed, following directions that led to physical locations or secret networks. Others vanished completely, leaving the internet community to speculate. Theories about the organization behind Cicada 3301 multiplied. Some claimed it was a government recruitment tool. NSA, CIA, MI6, hunting for brilliant cryptographers and hackers. Others whispered of a shadowy collective advocating for global privacy, anonymity, and digital freedom. Yet darker speculations lingered. Was Cicada an occult order testing the obedience of its candidates? Were those who won not being rewarded, but inducted into something far more sinister? What made these theories terrifying was the scarcity of evidence. Few solvers ever spoke openly. Those who did often described a sense of surveillance, an invisible presence watching every move. Some claimed that the chosen were being trained to operate in secrecy, perhaps even without realizing it, their minds reshaped by puzzles, trials, and near-obsessive devotion. The ambiguity fueled obsession. Each rumor, Each anecdote of disappearance added weight to the mythos of Cicada. It became a story told in whispers, in forums that closed suddenly, in emails that vanished before they could be saved. Those who got close enough to the truth often reported the same thing, a disorienting mix of awe and fear, as if they were participants in something that extended far beyond human comprehension. After several cycles of puzzles in 2012, 2013, and 2014, Cicada 3301 suddenly fell silent. The community that had grown around the hunt, once frantic, obsessive, and unrelenting, was left in eerie stillness. Forums that had been alive with speculation and discoveries became dormant. QR codes stopped appearing in cities. Encrypted phone messages ceased. The trail went cold. For those still chasing, it was as though the world itself had swallowed the organization whole. The abrupt silence sparked a wave of new theories. Some suggested government intervention. Perhaps the NSA or other intelligence agencies had finally shut down the operation. Others believed that Cicada had simply achieved its purpose and quietly disbanded. But many wondered, was it really over? Or had the puzzles simply gone deeper, hidden further than any digital or physical trail could be found? Then came a supposed farewell message in 2017. Brief, cryptic, almost taunting. Cicada 3301 has no connection to new puzzles. We have moved beyond. Was it authentic? Many doubted it. The text carried none of the previous cadence, none of the meticulous design that had defined Cicada's puzzles. For some, this only deepened the mystery. Had Cicada moved completely offline, leaving its chosen few to operate unseen? Or had the organization been infiltrated or replaced by imitators? The most unsettling aspect of this silence was not absence, but anticipation. Those who had been involved or had glimpsed too closely reported an almost tangible sense of being watched even years later. Emails would appear with innocuous subject lines, only to vanish before they could be read. Messages on forums would flicker and disappear. Shadows of movement in the digital space hinted that Cicada was no longer just a puzzle. It had become a presence, an idea, a force in the minds of those who had followed it. Some theorists argue that the silence itself was part of the final challenge, a test not of intelligence, but patience, obedience, and faith. To walk away is to fail. To linger, to remain vigilant, is to participate in something larger than comprehension. Even now, years later, the question haunts the minds of anyone who dares to ponder it. Where did Cicada go? And more importantly, who or what did it leave behind? Years after the puzzles, historians, cryptographers, and internet theorists continued to debate the purpose of Cicada 3301. Was it an intelligence-gathering tool? A secret society's recruitment experiment? Or something altogether stranger? Perhaps even an AI testing humanity's sharpest minds. The question that lingers like a shadow over the story is deceptively simple. Did Cicada seek the brilliant or the obedient? Every puzzle, every poster, every hidden message required not only intelligence but persistence, dedication, and a willingness to follow instructions to the letter. The most brilliant solvers often failed not for lack of intellect, but because they resisted the structure, refused the guidance, or doubted the motives of the unseen architect. Those who succeeded, those who became chosen, vanished from public view. The puzzles did not merely challenge them, they changed them. They were made to think, to act, to commit. And once that threshold was crossed, they were no longer players in a game. They were part of a mechanism, a larger design beyond comprehension. Cicada 3301 was never just a puzzle. It was a mirror reflecting the human mind, showing not only how we think, but how we obey, how we strive, how we surrender. And for those who stared too long into that mirror, the reflection often stared back, reshaping reality itself. This haunting question resonates with everyone who has encountered the story. Because if Cicada's true test was obedience, then the puzzle itself was only a lure. The real game is still in motion, and the chosen few may still be operating in ways we cannot see, shaping events in silence, hidden behind layers of codes, laws, and society's blindness. As Cicada 3301 receded into silence, its shadow lingered in the minds of those who had pursued it. Obsession, mystery, and the unsettling sense of being watched were its enduring legacy. Its puzzles may have ended, or perhaps they had simply moved deeper into the hidden folds of the internet, where only the daring or the desperate could follow. And yet, the digital world never rests. Somewhere in the labyrinthine corners of Reddit, a new mystery has begun to stir. Known only to a few as Lake City Quiet Pills, it is a whisper in the void, a series of posts, cryptic messages, and coded communications that hint at something far darker than any puzzle you've encountered. Allegedly, it is a network where life, death, and clandestine operations intersect, where participants are chosen not for their curiosity alone, but for their willingness to step into shadows most feared to enter. The threads are sparse, the references fleeting, but those who have glimpsed the messages report the same chilling truth. This is not a game. Like Cicada 3301, it tests intelligence, persistence, and perhaps most disturbingly, obedience. But unlike Cicada, Lake City Quiet Pills seems to exist entirely in the shadows, a hidden web within the web, with implications that could extend far beyond anything digital. What drives this network? Who orchestrates it? And what happens to those who are drawn too close? The answers remain shrouded, whispered only in the darkest corners of Reddit and encrypted forums. But one thing is certain: the rabbit hole is ready for anyone brave or foolish enough to enter. Next time, we will uncover the secrets behind Lake City Quiet Pills, tracing the digital breadcrumbs that lead from ordinary Reddit threads into a hidden world of cryptic contracts, mysterious deaths, and secrets that powerful people would rather keep buried.